Chapter 1. The crimson Suitette champagne flute shattered against marble. And I knew before I looked up that my night had just gotten worse. I'd been working at the Bellecourt Hotel for 3 months, long enough to recognize the difference between drunk guests and dangerous ones. The man in suite 1208 was neither. He was something else entirely. Something that made the air around him feel compressed. Like the moments before lightning strikes, Miss Reyes, his voice came from the shadows near the window. Low and sharp as a blade drawn across leather. You're late. I wasn't late. I was exactly on time for the midnight turn-down service. But I'd learned quickly that men like him, men who booked the presidential suite for 3 weeks straight and never seemed to sleep, didn't care about actual time. They cared about their own. My apologies, Mr. Constantine. I kept my eyes down, moved toward the bed with fresh linens folded over my arm. The suite smelled like expensive tobacco and something darker, metallic. It took me a moment to place it. Blood. My hand stilled on the duvet. Continue, he said. I did, because I needed this job. Because my brother's medication cost more than I made in a month. And because the Bellecourt paid better than anywhere else in the city. I smoothed the sheets with practiced efficiency, hyper-aware of him watching me from across the room. I'd only seen Alexei Constantine clearly once: dark hair, sharp jawline, eyes the color of smoke before a fire. He'd looked at me like he was reading a ledger, calculating my worth in seconds. Tonight, he stayed in shadow. I was folding the decorative pillows when I heard it, a sound like a sigh, followed by something heavy hitting the floor. My training said to ignore it. My instincts said to run. I did neither. Mr. Constantine? I turned slowly. He was on his knees beside the window, one hand pressed against his ribs. Even in the dim light, I could see the darkness spreading across his white shirt. Too much of it, too fast. Leave. The word came out broken, more breath than voice. I should have. God, I should have walked out of that suite and called the front desk and let them handle whatever this was. But his hand was shaking, and there was so much blood, and something about the way he looked at me, not commanding anymore, just fading. I dropped the linens and crossed the room. Don't touch me. His other hand moved to his jacket, and I saw the gun tucked against his ribs before his fingers went slack. Arya, go. He knew my name. Of course he knew my name. I knelt beside him anyway, my hands already moving to his shirt buttons. You're bleeding out. Where's the wound? Left side. Below the ribs. His accent thickened with each word, Russian roots showing through polished English. Superficial wounds don't make people collapse. I peeled back the fabric and bit back. A curse. The gash was deep, still pumping blood with each heartbeat. You need a hospital. No, his hand caught my wrist, grip still iron strong despite everything. No hospitals. No police. Our eyes met, and I understood with absolute clarity that Alexei Constantine was not just a wealthy businessman with particular habits. He was something that existed in the spaces between laws, in the dark corners where violence were expensive suits. Then you need a doctor, I said. Someone. Can't trust. His words cut off as his eyes tracked to something behind me. His expression changed, hardened into something terrifying, even while bleeding on the floor. Get down. I didn't question it. I dropped flat as the window exploded inward, glass raining down like diamonds in the darkness. A figure in black moved through the opening, gun already raised. Constantine shoved me behind him with one arm, while the other reached for his weapon. He was too slow, too weak. The intruder's gun swung toward his head, finger tightening on the trigger. I didn't think. I grabbed the champagne bottle from the ice bucket beside us and launched myself forward, swinging with everything I had. The bottle connected with the intruder's temple with a sickening crack. He went down hard, gun clattering across the floor. The silence that followed was broken only by my ragged breathing, and the distant sound of traffic. 12 stories below. Arya. Constantine's voice was different, now quieter, more dangerous. Look at me. I turned. He'd retrieved his gun, had it pointed at the unconscious man on his floor. But his eyes were on me, studying me with an intensity that made my skin prickle. You just saved my life, he said slowly, like he was working out a complicated equation. Or complicated it beyond measure. Before I could answer, his gaze shifted to the broken window, the bleeding man on his floor, then back to me. When he spoke again, his words carried the weight of a closing cell door. You can't go home tonight. You can't go anywhere. Do you understand? I understood. I'd just stepped into a world that didn't let people walk away. The phone in his jacket started ringing. Constantine grimaced as he shifted, fresh blood seeping through his fingers. We have approximately 4 minutes before more of them come. So I need you to make a choice very quickly, Miss Reyes. What choice? Whether you trust me to keep you alive. Outside, sirens began to wail in the distance, growing closer. Chapter 2. The Devil's Bargain. 3 minutes wasn't enough time to think clearly, but it was enough time to understand that staying in Suite 1208 meant dying in it. Can you walk? I asked, already moving to his side. Constantine's eyes narrowed, calculating. You're not running. You said I can't go home. You said more are coming. I grabbed his arm, tried to pull him up. He was solid muscle and dead weight. So either we both leave, or we both die here. Choose faster than I had to. Something flickered across his face, surprise, maybe, or respect. He hauled himself up, using my shoulder for leverage, and I felt the full weight of him, the heat of his blood soaking through my uniform. Up close, he smelled like gunpowder and cedar. Service elevator, he said through gritted teeth. They'll expect the main one. I didn't ask how he knew the hotel's layout so well. I just moved, half supporting him as we left the suite. The hallway was empty, cameras pointing at us like dead eyes. Constantine reached up and yanked his tie loose with his free hand, pressed it against his wound. Your shift ends at 1? He asked as we moved. Yes. Anyone expecting you? My brother. Always my brother, waiting up, despite my telling him not to. No, I lied. We reached the service elevator. I jabbed the button 3 times. 4. The display showed it stuck on the 8th floor. Behind us, the main elevator dinged. Stairs, Constantine said. You're bleeding now, Arya. I shoved open the stairwell door. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead, casting everything in sickly yellow. Constantine moved faster than I expected, one hand on the railing, each step leaving a small dark print. We made it down 3 flights before voices echoed above us, Russian, fast and urgent. Constantine's hand closed over my mouth before I could gasp. He pulled me against the wall beneath the stairs, into shadow, his body, a wall of heat and tension against my back. I could feel his heartbeat to fast, against my spine. The footsteps came closer. 2 men, maybe 3. They passed our floor, kept going down. Constantine waited 30 seconds more before releasing me. Lobby's compromised, he whispered against my ear. We go through the kitchen. We emerged on the service level. The kitchen was closed, dark except for the exit signs. I led him through the maze of stainless steel prep stations toward the loading dock, my shoes silent on the tile. His were louder, each step a small announcement. Outside, the November air hit like a slap. The loading dock overlooked an alley, dumpsters lined up like sentries. A black Mercedes idled 30 feet away, engine running. That's yours? I asked. That's rescue. He straightened, letting go of me for the first time since the suite. Without his weight, I felt untethered, lost. Or a trap. About even odds. The car's back door opened. A man in a suit stepped out, older, silver-haired, with eyes that assessed me in one sweep. He said something in rapid Russian. Constantine answered in the same language, his tone broking no argument. Arya Reyes, Constantine said, switching to English. This is Victor. He's going to ensure you survive the next 24 hours. And then what? Then we discuss terms. I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. Terms of what? I'm a hotel maid who hit someone with a bottle. I don't know anything about. I gestured at the blood, the car, the man with the shoulder holster visible beneath his jacket. Whatever this is. You know my face. You know my name. You know I'm vulnerable. Constantine moved closer, and even wounded, he radiated danger. And you know someone wants me dead. That makes you either an asset or a liability. I'm neither. I'm nobody. Nobody doesn't think to grab a weapon. Nobody doesn't stay calm while men come through windows. His hand reached out, gripped my chin, forced me to meet his eyes. They were gray, I realized. Storm gray, with flecks of silver. You're something, Arya Reyes. I just haven't decided what yet. Victor spoke again, more urgently. Constantine released me, moved toward the car. Halfway there, he turned back. My first instinct is to lock you somewhere safe until this is over. But instincts fail. He studied me, head tilted. So I'll offer you something rare. A choice. What choice? Come with us willingly. Let me protect you. Compensate you for your trouble. And when it's over, return to your life with enough money to solve whatever problems keep you working midnight shifts at a hotel. He paused. Or refuse, and I'll have Victor take you anyway, because I don't trust my enemies not to find you first. That's not a choice. No, he agreed. But it's the illusion of one. Most people find that comforting. Sirens wailed closer now, multiple vehicles. Red and blue lights flickered at the alley's mouth. Decide, Constantine said. We're out of time. I thought of my brother, of the medication and the bills, and the careful way I'd built a life from nothing. I thought of the man bleeding in front of me, offering protection with one hand, while holding a gun in the other. I thought of the body on the suite floor, the glass in my hair, the way everything familiar had shattered in the space of 10 minutes. If I come, I said, I need to make a phone call. One call, to tell someone I'm safe. No calls. Not yet. Then I need you to have someone check on my brother. Marco Reyes, apartment for C, 2847 Delancey. He's 17, diabetic. And if I don't come home done, Constantine extended his hand. Your brother will be watched, protected. You have my word. The word of a man I don't know, doing things I don't understand, for reasons I'm not allowed to ask about. His lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. Welcome to my world, Arya. I took his hand. The Mercedes swallowed us whole. Chapter 3. The safe house with Mercedes drove for 40 minutes, winding through streets I didn't recognize until the city lights faded to suburban darkness. Victor hadn't spoken since we left the alley. Constantine sat beside me, silent except for his breathing to shallow to controlled. He'd refused to let Victor take him to a hospital, instead making 3 phone calls in Russian that ended with him pocketing his phone and closing his eyes. You're going to pass out, I said, observant. He didn't open his eyes. I'm going to pass out after we arrive. There's a difference. Stubborn. Practical. If I lose consciousness now, Victor takes you somewhere without my direct orders. I don't trust anyone with you except myself. His eyes opened, then found mine in the darkness. And I'm not certain yet why that is. The car turned onto a gravel drive. Through the windshield, I saw a house too large to be called anything but an estate. 3 stories of stone and dark windows, surrounded by trees that pressed close like witnesses. The iron gates closed behind us with a sound like a jaw snapping shut. Victor pulled around to a side entrance. Another man waited there, shorter and stocky, with a medical bag at his feet. He took one look at Constantine and started cursing in Russian. English, Dmitri, Constantine said, climbing out with visible effort. We have a guest. A guest? Dmitri's eyes found me, widened. Alexei, what have you? Patch me up first. Questions later. Constantine started toward the door, stumbled. I caught his arm without thinking. His hand covered mine, steadying himself. See? Practical. Inside the house was all dark wood and darker shadows. Dmitri led us through a kitchen that looked unused, down a hallway lined with paintings I couldn't see clearly, into a study that smelled of leather and old books. Constantine lowered himself onto a couch, finally letting the pain show on his face. Out, Dmitri said to me, already cutting away Constantine's shirt. She stays. Constantine's voice left no room for argument. Arya, there's vodka in the cabinet behind you. Pour 2 glasses. My hands shook as I found the crystal decanter, the glasses. Behind me, Dmitri worked with efficient brutality, the sound of thread through skin, Constantine's sharp intake of breath. I poured vodka with my back turned, not trusting myself to watch. You're lucky, Dmitri said. Another inch and it would have hit your liver. As it is, you need rest. Real rest, Alexei. Not your version of it. How long? A week minimum. 2, if you want to heal properly. I have 3 days. Then you'll tear these stitches and bleed out properly next time. Dmitri finished bandagging, packed his supplies with sharp, angry movements. This is about the Volkov contract. Yes? Later. Constantine's eyes cut to me. Not now. Dmitri followed his gaze, seemed to understand something I didn't. She's involved. She's protected. Make sure Victor knows. Make sure everyone knows. Constantine accepted the vodka I brought him, drained it in one swallow. No one touches her. No one questions her. She's under my personal guarantee. Alexei, go. Dmitri left, muttering. The door closed with a soft click that sounded final. Constantine gestured to the chair across from him. Sit. We need to talk. I sat, still holding my untouched vodka. The study felt smaller now that we were alone. the bookshelves pressing in. A clock ticked somewhere, counting down to something I couldn't name. The man who came through the window, Constantine said. Did you recognize him? I didn't see his face clearly. But if you did, if the police showed you photos, I understood then. You want to know if I'd identify him. I want to know what kind of person you are. Aria Reyes. He leaned forward, and even wounded. He was magnetic, dangerous in a way that had nothing to do with guns or blood. You work 3 jobs. You support a diabetic brother alone. You notice things, the blood in my sweat, the pattern of my breathing. You don't panic under pressure. He paused. And you lie poorly. My throat went dry. What? Someone is expecting you home. Your brother, I assume, despite what you said earlier. You were protecting him even then. His eyes held mine. So here's what I know. You're loyal, quick thinking, and brave enough to be stupid. The question is whether you're also smart enough to stay alive. I don't want any part of this. Too late. The moment you swung that bottle, you became part of it. He reached for the vodka bottle, poured another glass with steady hands. The bandages around his ribs were already spotted with red. The Volkov family wants me dead. They've wanted it for 3 years, since I took territory they believed was theirs. Tonight was their closest attempt yet. Why are you telling me this? Because you'll hear it anyway. Because secrets kept become weapons used. He drank, slower this time. And because I need you to understand what protection means. It means Victor, outside your door. It means cameras, guards, rules you don't break. It means no contact with your old life until I say otherwise. I stood up, vodka sloshing in my glass. You can't just keep me here. I can. I am. He stood too, moved closer. I could see the pain it cost him, the way his jaw tightened. But I'd prefer cooperation. Why? The question burst out. Why do you care? You could have Victor lock me up, like you said. Why give me anything? Constantine reached out, tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. His fingers were cold, his touch surprisingly gentle. Because you stayed when you should have run. Because you asked about my wound before your own safety. Because he stopped, something flickering across his face. Uncertainty, maybe. Possibility. Because what? Because I've spent 15 years in this world, and I've learned to recognize rare things when I see them. His thumb traced my jawline, barely touching. You're a rare thing, Aria Reyes, and rare things in my world need protection. Outside, gravel crunched. Voices called out in Russian. Constantine's hand dropped from my face, his expression shuddering, closed. That will be the rest of my men. They'll want to debrief me. He moved toward the door, stopped. Your room is upstairs, second on the left. Don't leave it tonight. And tomorrow? Tomorrow, we see if the world has learned you exist yet. His smile was sharp, almost sad. Pray that it hasn't. Chapter 4. The Watcher and the Watchetti didn't sleep. The room Constantine had given me was larger than my entire apartment for poster bed. Velvet curtains, a bathroom with marble that probably cost more than Marco's medication for a year. I sat by the window instead, watching shadows move across the grounds below. Men with guns, patrolling in pairs. A world I'd stumbled into and couldn't stumble out of. My phone was still in my locker at the Bellecourt. My uniform was blood-stained, ruined. Everything I'd touched in the last 6 hours had turned to evidence of a life I hadn't chosen. Dawn. Someone knocked. Not Victor, a woman, slight and sharp-eyed, carrying clothes over her arm. Mr. Constantine thought you might need these. Her English was accented but precise. She laid out jeans, a sweater, undergarments that were exactly my size. I'm Irina. I manage the house. Does he always keep women's clothes handy? Something that might have been humor crossed her face. He doesn't usually keep women here at all. You're an anomaly, Miss Reyes. She left before I could ask what that meant. I showered, scrubbing hotel glass from my hair, watching pink water circle the drain. The clothes fit perfectly. When I emerged, Irina was waiting with coffee and something that looked like a croissant, but tasted better than anything I'd eaten in months. Mr. Constantine asks that you join him in the East Wing, she said. I'll show you. The house was different in daylight, less ominous, more empty. Our footsteps echoed on hardwood floors. Paintings lined the walls, all dark and old and valuable looking. I passed a room full of books, another with nothing but a piano. A house built for show, not living. The East Wing had windows overlooking gardens I hadn't seen in the dark. Constantine stood at one of them, dressed in fresh clothes, his left side carefully still. He didn't turn when we entered. Thank you, Irina. The door closed. We were alone again. Your brother is safe, Constantine said to the window. Victor's men reported he left for school at 7:15. He looked tired, but unharmed. Relief hit so hard I had to grip the back of a chair. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. He's being watched by 2 different parties now, mine, and likely theirs. He turned finally, and his face was drawn, exhausted. The Volkovs will have learned by now that I survived. They'll be looking for leverage. Marco's not leverage. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't need to know anything. He just needs to be yours. Constantine crossed to a desk, pulled out a folder. This arrived an hour ago. You should see it. Inside were photographs. The loading dock behind the Bellecourt, Victor's Mercedes, and me, my face visible in the emergency lights as Constantine and I climbed into the car. My stomach dropped. They know. They know you were with me. They don't know who you are yet. The angle obscures details, and you're in uniform. But they will know soon. The hotel will have records. He closed the folder. I've already had someone remove your file from their system. But there are other ways. Co-workers who might remember. Guests who might have seen you. So what happens now? Now, you become someone else for a while. He gestured to another chair. Sit. We need to discuss arrangements. I sat. The chair was leather soft, the kind of expensive that made you aware of your own poverty. I'm moving you to another property tomorrow, Constantine continued. Something smaller, less conspicuous. Victor will stay with you, along with 2 others. You'll have everything you need, but you won't leave without escort. For how long? Until the Volkov situation is resolved. A week, maybe 2. He paused. Or until they make another move. What kind of move? He looked at me then. Really looked. The kind where they use you to get to me. The kind where keeping you alive becomes more complicated than I anticipated. His voice dropped. I won't lie to you, Arya. You're in danger now. Real danger. The question is how we minimize it. I thought of Marco, walking to school with strangers watching. I thought of my apartment, the life I'd built from minimum wage and hope. What if I go to the police? Tell them everything? Then you become a witness, and witnesses disappear in cases involving people like me. The Volkovs have connections, judges, prosecutors, cops. You'd be dead within 48 hours. He moved closer, knelt in front of my chair so we were eye level. I know this is unfair. I know you didn't choose this. But the only path forward now is through, and I'm the only one who can get you there safely. Why? The question came out raw. Why does it matter to you if I live or die? You could just let them have me. Use me as bait. Constantine's jaw tightened. For a long moment, he didn't answer. When he did, his voice was different, quieter, more honest. 4 years ago, someone I cared about was killed because I didn't protect them well enough. I was distracted, overconfident. I thought my reputation was shield enough. His eyes held mine, and I saw something in them I hadn't expected. Pain. It wasn't. And I've spent every day since learning from that mistake. I'm not whoever you lost. No, you're not. He stood, putting distance between us again. But you're here because of me, and that makes you my responsibility. I don't take that lightly. Outside, a car approached. Victor appeared in the doorway, spoke quickly in Russian. Constantine's expression hardened. What? I asked. What is it? The hotel, Constantine said. Someone went through your locker. They have your phone. My blood went cold. Marco's number is in your contacts. Yes, he was already moving, pulling out his own phone. Victor, get cars ready. Dimitri's team to the school now. And tell them he switched to Russian, voice sharp with command. I stood, legs shaking. They'll go after him. Not if we get there first. Constantine turned back to me, and I saw the predator beneath the gentleman, the man who built empires in shadows. Stay here. Victor will keep you. Know the word came out harder than I'd ever spoken. He's my brother. I'm coming. Arya, you said I'm your responsibility? He's mine. If you're going, I'm going. I met his stare, refused to back down. Besides, you need me. If something happens, if he's scared, he'll trust me faster than men with guns. Constantine studied me, calculation and something else warring in his expression. Finally, he nodded once. Stay close to me. Do exactly what I say. And if shooting starts, I know. Get down. His mouth curved, almost a smile. Quick learner. Let's hope that's enough. Chapter 5. The school-run drive to Marco's school took 12 minutes that felt like hours. I sat beside Constantine in the back of an SUV, different from Victor's Mercedes, bigger, darker, with windows I couldn't see through. 2 more vehicles followed behind us, filled with men whose faces I didn't know. Tell me about your brother, Constantine said, eyes on his phone as messages poured in. Everything. What he looks like, his habits, who he talks to. I forced myself to focus past the panic. 17. Tall for his age, maybe 5'10". Dark hair, brown eyes. He wears a blue backpack with a broken strap. I keep meaning to replace it. He has lunch at 11:30, usually sits near the east entrance of the cafeteria. Friends? A few. Carlos, mostly. They play chess together. My hands twisted in my lap. He's smart, Constantine. Really smart. He was supposed to go to college this year, but you couldn't afford it, and his medication. He glanced up from his phone. How long has he been diabetic? Since he was 12. Our mom died when he was 14. It's been just us since then. Constantine's expression shifted, something softening behind his eyes. Your father? Gone before I was born. I looked out the window at the morning traffic. Ordinary people living ordinary lives. We've managed. It's not perfect, but we've managed. You've done more than manage. You've kept him alive, kept him in school. His hand moved like he might touch mine, then didn't. That takes strength. The phone buzzed. Constantine read the message, his jaw tightening. Dimitri's team is 2 minutes from the school. No sign of Volkov's men yet. Yet, I repeated. Yet, he confirmed. But they may not come. This could be precautionary. The phone rang. Constantine answered in Russian, listened, then swore softly. What? My voice cracked. What is it? Black sedan, parked across from the school's north exit. 2 men inside, watching. He leaned forward, spoke to Victor in rapid Russian. The SUV accelerated. Marco's class ends in 6 minutes. We need to reach him first. My heart hammered against my ribs. What if they haven't. If they had him, they'd be gone. They're waiting for an opportunity. His hand finally did touch mine briefly, grounding. Breathe, Arya. I need you clear-headed. The school appeared ahead, red brick. Chain link fence. The same building I'd walked past 1,000 times on my way to the bus stop. Ordinary. Safe. Except now it wasn't. Victor pulled into the visitor lot. Constantine's phone buzzed again. Dimitri, positioning his team. Through the windshield, I could see students starting to filter out for morning break. There, Constantine pointed to the north entrance. The black sedan was exactly where he'd said, windows tinted, engine running. Victor, take position near their vehicle. Don't engage unless they move first. Victor nodded, climbed out. 2 more men from the following vehicles joined him, spreading out with practiced efficiency. They looked like parents, businessmen. They moved like soldiers. What's your plan? I asked. Walk in with me. Find your brother. Walk out. Constantine checked something at his hip, the gun, I realized, hidden beneath his jacket. Simple. Nothing about this is simple. No, he agreed. But complexity gets people killed. We keep it clean. We got out. The morning air was cold, sharp with the smell of diesel from school buses. Constantine stayed close to my side, moving with careful precision that hid his injury. His hand rested lightly on my lower back, guiding me toward the main entrance. You're a concerned sister, he said quietly. I'm your employer, giving you time off for a family emergency. We're here to pull Marco out for a doctor's appointment. They'll want ID, authorization. Let me handle it. The front office was cramped, staffed by a woman in her 50s, who looked up from her computer with bureaucratic suspicion. Can I help you? I'm here to pick up my brother, Marco Reyes, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. He has a medical appointment. We'll need written authorization from a parent or guardian. Constantine stepped forward, pulled out his wallet. What he showed her wasn't money, a card of some kind, official looking. I'm Mr. Constantine, Miss Reyes' employer. This is a medical emergency regarding Marco's diabetic condition. We need him released immediately. The woman's suspicion wavered, shifted to concern. Is he all right? Should we call an ambulance? That won't be necessary. But time is a factor. Something in Constantine's voice, authority, maybe, or the implicit threat beneath politeness, made her reach for her phone. I'll have someone bring him from class. We waited. 3 minutes that stretched like taffy. Constantine's phone buzzed. Victor, updating positions. The black sedan hadn't moved. Through the window, I could see more of Constantine's men filtering into position around the school perimeter. Then Marco appeared, escorted by a teacher's aide. His face was confused, worried. When he saw me, relief and fear mixed together. Arya, what's going on? Are you okay? I crossed to him, pulled him into a hug before I could stop myself. He was taller than me now, solid and real and alive. I'm fine. We just need to go. Right now. Go where? His eyes found Constantine, narrowed. Who are you? A friend. Constantine said smoothly. We'll explain in the car. Marco, please. I kept my voice low, urgent. Trust me. We need to leave. Something in my tone reached him. Marco nodded slowly, adjusted his backpack. Okay. But Arya, the office phone rang. The woman answered, listened, then looked at us with new suspicion. Wait, there's been a now, Constantine said. We moved. Out the door, across the parking lot. Marco, between Constantine and me. The SUV's engine was already running. Back door open. Victor appeared from somewhere flanking us. The sedan's moving, he said to Constantine. Get them in. Go. Marco climbed in first. I followed. Constantine was turning to join us when the first shot cracked across the parking lot. The world exploded into motion. Constantine shoved me down, covering Marco and me with his body. More shots. 3, 4. The SUV's windows cracked but didn't break. Victor returned fire, the sound deafening. Drive. Constantine shouted. The SUV lurched forward. Through the cracked window, I saw the black sedan racing after us, some muzzle flashes from its windows. Saw one of Constantine's men go down in the parking lot. Marco was shaking beneath me. Or maybe I was shaking. Constantine stayed over us both, his weight, solid, protective. His bandages were bleeding again. I could feel the wetness seeping through his shirt. Stay down, he said, voice absolutely calm despite everything. Victor, lose them. The SUV screamed through a red light, horns blaring. More shots. Then we were on the highway, weaving through traffic, and the black sedan was falling behind. Only when we'd gone 5 miles in silence did Constantine finally ease back, let us sit up. His face was pale, jaw tight with pain. Marco stared at him, then at me. Arya. What the hell is happening? I opened my mouth. No words came. Constantine met my brother's eyes. Your sister saved my life. Now I'm saving hers. And yours, if you'll let me. Chapter 6. Breaking Point. Safe house we reached wasn't the estate from last night. This one was smaller, a townhouse tucked into a neighborhood that looked too normal for gunfights and blood. Victor pulled into an underground garage, and the door sealed behind us with mechanical finality. Marco hadn't spoken since Constantine's explanation. He sat rigid, processing, his hands gripping his backpack straps like they were the only solid thing left in his world. Inside, Constantine said. His voice was steady, but I could see the pain etched around his eyes. The bandages under his shirt had to be soaked through by now. The townhouse was sparse furniture that looked rented, walls without pictures, a place designed for hiding, not living. Dimitri was already there, medical bag open on the kitchen counter. You tore the stitches, he said flatly, seeing Constantine. Notice that, did you? Sit. Now. Dimitri pointed at a chair. And the rest of you, give us space. Victor guided Marco toward a back room. My brother looked at me, pleading, and I followed them. The room held 2 beds, a window with bars hidden behind curtains. Victor checked the perimeter, then left us alone. Arya. Marco's voice cracked. Tell me what's happening. The truth. I sat on the edge of one bed, suddenly exhausted. I hit someone with a champagne bottle to save a man's life. That man happens to be someone dangerous people want dead. Now they want me too. And you. Because you're what matters to me. The man out there. Constantine. Yes. Is he? Marco struggled with the word. Mafia? I think so. Yes. He processed this, his face cycling through emotions too fast to track. And you're what? His prisoner. His responsibility. That's what he said. I reached for Marco's hand. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry you're caught up in this. You're sorry? He laughed, high and sharp. Arya. You work 3 jobs so I can have insulin. You've been my parent since I was 14, and now you're apologizing for saving someone's life? I'm apologizing for the consequences. The consequences would be the same if you'd let him die. Those men would have seen you in that room. Marco squeezed my hand. At least this way, you have someone protecting us. From the kitchen came the sound of Dmitri working scissors through fabric, Konstantin's sharp intake of breath. Marco and I sat in silence, listening to violence being cleaned up. When Dmitri finally emerged, he looked older, tired. He needs rest, real rest. Not his version, but he's asking for you. His eyes found mine. Just you. I left Marco with a promise to return soon. The kitchen smelled like antiseptic and something metallic. Konstantin sat shirtless at the table, fresh bandages wrapped around his ribs, his skin pale against dark ink I hadn't seen before, tattoos that curved across his shoulder, down his arm. Russian script and symbols I didn't recognize. Your brother, he said without preamble. How is he? Scared. Angry. Processing. I leaned against the counter, keeping distance between us. You're bleeding for him. For us. I'm bleeding because I got careless. Your brother is irrelevant to that. But his eyes said differently. Dmitri says the school is locked down. Police are investigating. No casualties except one of my men wounded, not dead. He'll recover. Because of me. Because I was there. Because the Volkovs made a move in daylight, which means they're desperate. He stood carefully, moved to the window. Outside, the afternoon sun made everything look deceptively peaceful. Desperation makes people sloppy. It also makes them dangerous. What do we do now? Now. You and Marco stay here. Victor and 3 others will rotate guard duty. I'm moving you again tomorrow night. Smaller footprint, harder to find. He turned back to me. And I'm going to end this. Something in his tone made my skin prickle. End it how? The way these things end. Decisively. You're going to kill them. I'm going to remove the threat. He said it simply, like discussing the weather. The Volkovs sent men to a high school, Arya. They shot at children. That crosses lines even we observe. Even you? Even me. He crossed back to the table, pulled on a fresh shirt with careful movements. I know what you think of me. Criminal. Killer. The monster who broke your safe little world. You're not wrong. I don't think that. He looked up, surprised. I think you're dangerous, I continued. I think you live in a world I don't understand. But I also think I stopped, unsure how to finish. What? You covered us. In the parking lot when the shooting started. You put yourself between Marco and the bullets. I moved closer, unable to help it. Monsters don't do that. Konstantin's expression shifted, something vulnerable breaking through the armor. Don't make me better than I am, Arya. I've done things that would horrify you. I'm sure you have. But in this moment, right now, you're the only reason my brother is alive. I reached out, touched the edge of his bandage where blood had seeped through. So maybe you're not just one thing. Maybe you're complicated. His hand caught mine, held it against his chest. I could feel his heart beat fast, unsteady. You're making this harder. Making what harder? Keeping you at distance. Keeping this professional. His thumb traced circles on my palm. You should hate me, fear me. You should want nothing more than to be free of me. Should I? Yes. But he didn't let go. Because what I want and what's safe for you are not the same thing. The air between us felt charged, dangerous. I should have pulled away. Instead, I asked, what do you want? Konstantin's eyes locked on mine, storm gray, turbulent. Things I can't have. Things that would put you in more danger than you're already in. His other hand came up, cupped my face. Things that make me weak. You don't seem weak. That's because you haven't seen what you do to me. His voice dropped to almost a whisper. 3 days, Arya. I've known you 3 days. And already a door opened. Victor appeared, breaking the moment. He spoke in Russian, urgent. Konstantin's expression shuddered immediately, going from vulnerable to lethal in a heartbeat. What? I asked. What is it? The hotel. They found the man you hit. Konstantin released me, stepping back. He's talking to the Volkovs. Is that bad? He saw your face clearly. If he describes you, Konstantin pulled out his phone, started typing. We need to move up the timeline. Timeline for what? He looked at me, and I saw the predator again, the man who built an empire on violence and will, for making you disappear completely. Chapter 7. The truth between us disappear? Marco's voice cut through the kitchen. He stood in the doorway, pale but steady. What does that mean? Konstantin didn't flinch at being overheard. It means new identities, new location, protection until the threat is neutralized. It means your sister becomes someone else for however long necessary. And me? You too, if she wants. Constantine's gaze shifted to me. I can move you both. Different city, different names. The Volkovs will never find you. What about our lives? I heard my voice rising. Marco's school. My work, your work is gone. The Bella court will have terminated you for no show. And Marco's school, he gestured toward the window, the world outside. After today, do you think you can send him back there? The reality hit like cold water. Everything I'd built, every careful plan, shattered. Marco seemed to read my face. It's okay, he said quietly. Arya, it's okay. We've started over before. But that was different. That was us choosing to survive after Mom died. This was being erased. There's another option. Victor spoke from the doorway. More dangerous but faster. Constantine's jaw tightened. No, the Volkov girl, Natasha. Victor ignored Constantine's warning. Look, she's been seen at the club on 5th. If we grab her, I said no. Constantine's voice went cold. We don't touch her. Something passed between them, history, disagreement. Victor backed down, but not happily. Who's Natasha? I asked. No one who matters to you. Constantine turned away, but I caught his arm. If she's part of this, she matters. Tell me. For a long moment, I thought he wouldn't. Then he sighed, something exhausted in the sound. Dmitry Volkov's daughter, 22, studying medicine, nothing to do with her father's business. Victor thinks we can use her as leverage, and you don't? I don't hurt innocence. Even when it would be convenient, he met my eyes. Even when it would save people, he stopped. People I'm responsible for. The almost confession hung between us. Marco coughed pointedly. I need food, my brother said. And my insulin. It's in my backpack, but I need to eat something with it. Dmitry appeared as if summoned. Kitchen is stocked. I'll make something. Marco followed him, leaving Constantine and me alone again. The afternoon light slanted through the windows, making everything feel surreal, domestic almost. If you ignored the guns and the danger and the blood on Constantine's bandages, the person you lost, I said quietly, 4 years ago, were they innocent too? His shoulders tensed. Yes. Is that why you won't touch this, Natasha? That's why I won't repeat mistakes. He moved to the window, kept his back to me. Her name was Elena. She worked in one of my clubs, bartender. Nothing glamorous. She saw something she shouldn't have, and I thought I could protect her. I thought my reputation was enough. What happened? The Kozlov family happened. They wanted to send a message, and she was the easiest target. His reflection in the glass looked haunted. I found her 3 days later. By then, it was too late for anything but revenge. The Kozlovs don't exist anymore. I made sure of that. He turned back to me. But it didn't bring her back. It didn't change the fact that she died because I was arrogant enough to think I could have something normal. Someone good. The weight of it settled between us, the real reason he kept pushing me away, the real danger I represented. I'm not her, I said. No, you're harder. A bitter smile crossed his face. Elena understood my world. She was in it by choice. You're here because you made one decent decision and the universe punished you for it. The universe didn't punish me. You're protecting me. I'm prolonging the inevitable. He crossed back to me, and this time he didn't stop until he was close enough that I could feel the heat of him. You want the truth, Arya? The real truth? Yes. The Volkovs won't stop. Even if I eliminate the current leadership, there will be others. Cousins, allies, someone wanting to prove themselves. This world, he gestured around us. It doesn't let people go. It especially doesn't let witnesses go. So what are you saying? I'm saying you have to real choices. Disappear completely, new life, new name, never look back. Or he stopped, seemed to struggle with something. Or what? Or stay, in my world, under my protection, permanently. His eyes held mine, not as a prisoner, as someone who belongs, someone who chooses this life, with full knowledge of what it costs. My heart hammered. You mean I mean exactly what you think I mean. His hand came up, traced my jaw. It would solve everything. The Volkovs couldn't touch you because you'd be untouchable, mine, in every way that matters in this world. But it would also destroy any chance of you having the normal life you want for your brother, for yourself. That's not a choice. That's a cage. Yes, he didn't deny it. A gilded one, but still a cage. Which is why you should choose the first option. Disappear. Take Marco somewhere safe. Live. Without you. Something flared in his eyes, hope, maybe, or fear. Without me, I thought of Marco in the kitchen, eating food a stranger prepared in a house we couldn't leave. I thought of my apartment, my jobs, the life I'd carefully constructed. I thought of Constantine covering us with his body while bullets flew. What if I don't want either choice? I asked. What if I want a third option? There isn't one. Then we make one. I stepped closer, closing the last distance between us. You say this world doesn't let people go, but you're not this world. You're a person who makes choices. So choose differently. Arya, end it. Really? End it. Not by killing the Volkovs, by making them understand that touching me costs more than any message is worth. My hand found his chest, felt his heartbeat spike. You said I was rare, so make me too valuable to harm. Make it known that I'm under your protection, not because I'm property, but because you're what? His voice was rough, barely controlled. The words caught in my throat. 3 days. I'd known him 3 days, but 3 days of blood and bullets and vulnerability had stripped away pretense. Because I matter to you, I finished. And in your world that means something. Constantine's control broke. His hand fisted in my hair, pulled me against him. You matter too much. That's the problem. Then we share the problem. He kissed me. Not gentle, desperate, like drowning. I kissed him back with everything I had, tasting violence and vulnerability, danger, and something achingly human beneath it all. When we broke apart, both breathing hard, his forehead rested against mine. This is a mistake, he whispered. Probably. You'll hate me eventually. When you see what I really am. I've seen you bleed. I've seen you protect my brother. That's real too. From the kitchen came the sound of Marco laughing at something. Dmitri said normal, impossible, fragile. Constantine pulled back, his expression shifting to something resolved. Then we do it your way. I make you untouchable. How? His smile was sharp, dangerous, absolutely certain. We make you my wife. Chapter 8. The proposal and the price. The word hung in the air like smoke. Wife, I repeated, sure I'd misheard. Not real. A performance. Constantine stepped back, and the businessman replaced the man who'd just kissed me. In my world, marriage is protection. An announcement. It tells the Volkovs that harming you means declaring war on my entire organization, not just on me personally. A fake marriage. Something flickered across his face. Does it matter if it's real when the consequences are? Before I could answer, Marco appeared in the doorway. Did I just hear marriage? It's strategic, Constantine said calmly. Nothing your sister needs to worry about beyond playing a role. Playing a role as your wife. Marco looked between us, then settled on me. Arya, you can't be serious. I don't know what I am. I moved to the window, needing distance. Outside, Victor paced the perimeter, phone to his ear. How many men were out there, protecting us? How many had already been hurt because I'd swung a bottle? This is insane. Insane is letting the Volkovs hunt you for the rest of your life. Constantine's voice was reasonable, measured. Like he was proposing a business merger, not a marriage. This solves everything. You stay with me, publicly committed. Marco gets protection, education, anything he needs. And the Volkovs understand that the cost of revenge just became too high. And when it's over? Marco asked. When the danger passes. An annulment. Divorce. Whatever works. Constantine pulled out his phone, started typing. 6 months? Maybe a year. Long enough to cement the message. Short enough to avoid what? I turned back to face him. Complications? His fingers stilled on the screen. Yes. The kiss we'd shared minutes ago felt like a hallucination now. His face was carefully blank, professional. Like he hadn't just admitted I mattered too much. Like he hadn't looked at me with something desperate and real. This is a terrible idea, I said. You have a better one? I didn't. God help me. I didn't. What would it involve? Marco asked, and I wanted to strangle him for enabling this insanity. Specifically, Constantine pocketed his phone. A ceremony. Small. Witnessed by my inner circle. Enough to make it legally binding, but not enough to attract attention. Then public appearances, restaurants, events, places where people will see and report. Arya would live at my estate, play the role of my wife in social settings, sleep in your bed? The question came out before I could stop it. That would be up to you. His eyes met mine, and I saw heat beneath the ice. The appearance of intimacy is all that matters. The reality can be whatever you're comfortable with. Comfortable. What a useless word for this situation. I need to think, I said. You have an hour. Constantine moved toward the door, then paused. Arya, I know what I'm asking, but I'm also offering you something most people in your position never get a choice. You can say no, I'll still protect you, still move you somewhere safe. But this option, if you take it, gives you power. My name, my resources, my world. That's not nothing. He left. Marco immediately turned to me. You're not actually considering this. I don't know what I'm considering. I sank onto the couch, head in my hands. 3 days ago I was a maid. Now I'm what? A mafia wife? A fake mafia wife. There's a difference. Is there? I looked up at him. He kissed me, Marco. Before he proposed this insanity, he kissed me. And it didn't feel fake. My brother's expression softened. You like him. I don't know him well enough to like him. That's not a no. I thought about Constantine's hands in my hair. His heartbeat under my palm. The way he'd looked when he talked about Elena. Haunted. Human. He's dangerous, I said. So is staying and hiding forever. So is running. Marco sat beside me. Look, I'm 17. Not stupid. I can see what's happening here. He's powerful, protective, and clearly into you. And you haven't let yourself want anything but survival for years. Maybe that's what scares you. What scares me is that this stops being fake. That I start believing in something that's just a performance. Then don't believe in it. Use it. Marco took my hand. You've spent your whole life taking care of me. Let someone take care of you for once, even if it's pretend. Even if it's temporary. Dmitri appeared carrying a tray with tea. Mr. Constantine asks that you join him in the study when you're ready. No pressure. But he set down the tray. For what it's worth, I've known Alexei 15 years. He doesn't make offers like this lightly. What does that mean? It means he sees something in you worth protecting. And in our world, that's rarer than you'd think. Dmitri left us with the tea and implications. I found Constantine in a small study, standing before a wall of books he probably hadn't read. His back was to me, shoulders tense. I'll do it, I said. He turned slowly. You're sure? No, but I'm out of better options, and Marco's right, this at least gives us power instead of just fear. I cross my arms, needing the barrier. But I have conditions. Name them. Marco finishes school. Real school. Not some online program. And when this is over, you help him get into college. Full ride wherever he wants. Done. I want access to money. My own account. So when I leave, I'm not starting from zero. Done. And I hesitated. I need you to be honest with me. About the danger. About your business. About what I'm really walking into. No more half-truths. Constantine studied me for a long moment. Then he crossed the room, extended his hand. I can promise honesty. I can promise protection. I can promise that when this ends, you and Marco will be set for life. His fingers wrapped around mine. What I can't promise is that it won't hurt. Both of us. Because of complications. Because of what we both know is already happening. He pulled me closer. And this time there was no kiss. Just proximity and truth. You asked me to choose differently. This is me trying. By making me your fake wife. By making you untouchable in every way that matters. His thumb traced my knuckles. The rest, what's real and what's performance, we'll figure out as we go. That's a terrible plan. Welcome to my world, Mrs. Constantine. He said it like testing the words. We specialize in terrible plans that somehow work. Through the window, I saw Victor signal something to the house. Constantine's phone buzzed. He checked it, and his expression hardened. What? I asked. The Volkovs. They just issued a bounty on you. He showed me the screen, my hotel ID photo, a number with too many zeros. $500,000 for information leading to your location. $1 million if you're delivered alive. My stomach dropped. Delivered. Which means we're out of time for thinking. Constantine pocketed his phone. The ceremony happens tonight. By morning, every criminal in this city will know you're mine. And the price for touching you becomes something no one can afford to pay. He held out his hand again. Last chance to run, Arya. I thought of Marco, of the bullets at the school, of the way Constantine had covered us both without hesitation. I thought of the kiss, the complications, the terrible choice between freedom and safety. I took his hand. Let's get married. Chapter 9. The wedding and the war. They found me a dress in 2 hours. Irina arrived with 3 options, all white, all somehow my size. I chose the simplest silk that fell to my knees. No veil, no illusions. If I was going to sell my soul for protection, I'd do it honestly. Marco helped me zip it up. His hands shook. You don't have to do this, he said for the 10th time. Yes, I do. I met his eyes in the mirror. And it's going to be okay. You're a terrible liar. The ceremony was set for 8 p.m. in the estate's library, the real estate, the one from the first night. We'd been moved back under cover of darkness. 3 cars, armed escorts. Constantine had disappeared to make arrangements, leaving me with Irina and my thoughts. Both were dangerous company. At 7:30, Dmitri knocked. It's time. The library had been transformed. Candles everywhere, their light warm against the dark wood and leather. A priest stood near the fireplace, old, somber, the kind who'd seen too much to judge anything. Victor and 4 other men I didn't know lined the walls. Witnesses or guards, maybe both. Constantine stood by the window in a black suit, and for a moment I forgot to breathe. He looked like something from another era, powerful, untouchable, dangerous. Then he turned and saw me, and something vulnerable crossed his face before he controlled it. You look beautiful, he said quietly. You look like a man about to make a terrible mistake. I've made worse. He extended his hand. Ready? I wasn't, but Marco squeezed my shoulder, and I walked forward anyway. The ceremony was in Russian and English, words about commitment and faith that felt both sacred and profane in this context. Constantine's responses were steady, practiced. Mine caught in my throat more than once. When the priest asked for rings, Victor produced 2 bands that looked old, heavy with history. My grandmother's, Constantine murmured, as he slid one onto my finger. My grandfather's for me. Tradition. This isn't traditional. No, but some things still matter. His eyes held mine. Even in terrible mistakes, the ring was warm, sized perfectly. I slid its mate onto his finger with trembling hands, watched it settle like a shackle or a promise. The priest said something in Russian. Constantine translated without looking away from me. He says we're married now. In the eyes of God and witnesses, his hand cupped my face. He also says I may kiss my wife. May or must. May, if you want. Everyone was watching. The witnesses, Marco, Irina. This was the performance, the moment that would be reported and spread. This was what made it real to the world outside. I kissed him first. Just a touch, brief and chaste, sealing the deal. But Constantine's hand tightened on my waist, pulled me closer. The second kiss was different, deeper, possessive, real. When we broke apart, my face was hot and his eyes were dark. Well, Victor said dryly. That looked convincing. The priest blessed us, collected his fee, left with the same incurious expression he'd arrived with. The witnesses approached one by one, congratulations that felt like condolences, respect mixed with speculation. Through it all, Constantine kept me at his side, his hand on my back, playing the devoted groom, or not playing. I couldn't tell anymore. Marco hugged me when the formalities ended. Congratulations, I guess? It's not real, I whispered. Tell your face that. He pulled back, studied me. Arya, be careful. With him. With yourself. I know what I'm doing. I don't think either of you do. Irina brought champagne. We toasted with crystal that probably cost more than my old life. Constantine watched me over the rim of his glass, and I felt the weight of his attention like a physical thing. At 9 p.m., his phone rang. The performance dropped from his face like a mask. He answered in Russian, listened, then swore viciously. What? I asked. He held up a hand. Wait. More conversation, sharp and tense. Then he hung up and looked at Victor. The Volkovs know. They're moving tonight. Moving where? I set down my champagne, ice flooding my veins. Here. They traced the cars somehow, or paid someone to talk. They're coming for you. He was already moving, pulling his jacket straight. Victor. Get everyone to positions. Dmitri. Take Marco and Arya to the safe room. No, the word came out harder than I intended. No more running. You said marrying you made me untouchable. Prove it, Arya. This isn't a game, I know it's not. Which is why hiding won't work. They'll just keep coming. I moved to him, grabbed his arm. You're Alexei Constantine. You built an empire. So defend it. Defend me. Out there where they can see. Something shifted in his expression, surprise, then calculation, then respect. You understand what you're asking? If this goes wrong, then we die. But at least we die on our terms, not theirs. Victor made a noise that might have been approval. Constantine studied me for another heartbeat, then nodded once. All right, we do this your way. He turned to his men. Everyone, arms up. We make a stand here now. And we make sure every Volkov who comes tonight doesn't leave to report it. The library transformed again from wedding venue to war room. Men checked weapons, spoke in low Russian, moved with military efficiency. Marco stood frozen until Dmitri handed him a phone. Safe room code is 4472. Panic button is here. You lock yourself in and you don't come out until we come for you. Understand? Marco looked at me. I nodded. He left, reluctance in every step. Konstantin loaded his gun with methodical precision. You should go with him. I'm your wife now. Isn't that the point? I stay with you. The point was protection, not suicide. Then protect me. I moved to him, laid my hand over his heart. You said I was untouchable. Show them you meant it. His hand covered mine. If this goes wrong, if they get through, they won't. Because you won't let them. Outside, engines growled. Headlights swept across the windows. 3 vehicles. Maybe 4. More than I'd expected. More than seemed survivable. Konstantin's fingers tightened on mine. Then he released me, moved to the window, and opened it. Cold November air rushed in. Volkov, he shouted into the darkness. You want her? Come and take her. His hand found mine again as shadows detached from the vehicles. Men with guns, spreading out across the grounds. 8, 10, a dozen. Too many. Whatever happens, Konstantin said quietly, know that this tonight you was real. Not performance. Real. Before I could answer, the first shot shattered the window, and the war began. Chapter 10. The aftermath. Lass exploded inward. Konstantin threw me to the floor behind a heavy desk as bullets tore through the library. Books exploded into paper and leather. Candles shattered. The air filled with cordite and chaos. Victor returned fire from the doorway. 2 more of Konstantin's men appeared, flanking the windows, their shots precise and controlled. The Volkov men weren't as disciplined. They fired wild, suppressive, trying to overwhelm through volume. It wasn't working. Stay down, Konstantin said against my ear, his body covering mine. He rose just enough to fire 3 quick shots, then dropped back. Victor. East window. On it. The gunfight lasted 3 minutes that felt like hours. I pressed my face to the floor, smelling gun smoke and old wood and Konstantin's cedar scent. His heartbeat hammered against my back, fast but steady, controlled even in chaos. Then, abruptly, silence. Konstantin waited 10 seconds before moving. He rose slowly, gun still raised, scanning the darkness beyond the shattered windows. Victor did the same from his position. Clear, Victor called. 4 down outside. The rest retreated. How many got away? At least 6. Maybe more in the vehicles. Konstantin helped me up. My dress was covered in glass and dust, my hands shaking so hard I could barely stand. He steadied me with one arm while keeping his gun ready with the other. You okay? His eyes searched my face, checking for injuries. I think so. Yes. My voice sounded wrong, distant. Marco, I'll get him. Dmitri disappeared toward the safe room. The library looked like a war zone. Bullet holes scarred the walls. Books lay destroyed. Candles guttered in pools of wax. Through the broken windows, I could see bodies on the lawn, dark shapes that had been men minutes ago. This is your world, I said numbly. Yes, Konstantin didn't apologize for it. This is what protection looks like. Dmitri returned with Marco, who immediately crushed me in a hug. I heard the shots. I thought, I'm fine. We're fine. I held him tight, breathing in his familiar smell. Safety. Home. The one constant in my life. It's over. It's not over. Victor was on his phone, speaking rapid Russian. He hung up, looked at Konstantin. The ones who ran are reporting back. This will reach Dmitri Volkov within the hour. Good. Konstantin moved to the window, looked out at the carnage. Let him hear it. Let him understand what it costs to come for what's mine. The possessiveness in his voice sent heat through me despite everything. I was his now, legally, publicly, in every way that mattered to his world. The ring on my finger felt heavier than it had an hour ago. They'll retaliate, Victor continued. Maybe not tonight, but soon. Then we retaliate first. Konstantin turned back, and his face was the predator's again, cold, calculating. Victor, I want everything on Dmitri Volkov's operations. Every business, every property, every person who matters to him. We burn it all. Alexei, all of it. His voice was absolute. He sent men to my wedding. To my home. He made this personal. So I end it personally. The room fell silent. Even Victor looked uncertain. But Konstantin's expression didn't waver. Sir, one of the other men said from the doorway. We have a problem. What kind of problem? One of the Volkov men. He's alive, wounded. He's asking to speak with you. Konstantin's jaw tightened. Show me. We followed him outside me, Victor, Dmitri. Marco started to come too, but I stopped him. Stay inside, please. The wounded man lay near the gate, blood pooling beneath him. Young, maybe 25, with a hole in his shoulder and fear in his eyes. Two of Konstantin's men stood guard over him. Konstantin knelt beside him, gun loose in his hand. You wanted to talk. Talk? Dmitri, he doesn't know. The words came out pained, desperate. About tonight. This wasn't him. This was his nephew, Sergei. He's trying to prove himself. Wants to take over. Konstantin's expression didn't change. And Dmitri? He's sick. Cancer. Everyone knows he's dying. Sergei thought if he killed you, took your territory, he'd be strong enough to lead when Dmitri's gone. Blood bubbled at the man's lips. But Dmitri doesn't want this war. He never wanted it. Victor swore softly. Konstantin stood, looked down at the dying man with something that might have been pity. Where's Sergei now? Gone. Ran when he saw Wetkov. When he saw us losing. And Dmitri? His estate. Always his estate. He doesn't leave anymore. The man's eyes found mine. I'm sorry. About your wedding. This wasn't we were told it would be easy. That you were just what? I asked. Just some girl he'd go soft for. We didn't know you'd another cough. We didn't know. Konstantin made a gesture. Dmitri moved forward with his medical bag. Save him, Konstantin ordered. Then take him to Dmitri. With a message. What message? That the war is over. Sergei's life for peace. He hands over his nephew. We don't burn everything Volkov to the ground. Konstantin's hand found mine, pulled me close. And he sends a formal apology to my wife. The word hung in the cold air, wife. Real now, sealed in blood and bullets. The wounded man nodded weakly before losing consciousness. Dmitri worked quickly, efficiently. Victor made calls. The cleanup crew arrived, more men, more cars. The machinery of Konstantin's world humming to life. We went back inside. Irina had already started clearing the worst of the damage. Marco sat in a chair, processing. And Konstantin pulled me into a side room, away from everyone. Are you sure you're okay? His hands ran over my arms, my shoulders, checking for injuries with a gentleness that contradicted everything I'd just witnessed. I'm sure. I caught his hands, held them still. Konstantin, Alexei. His forehead touched mine. You're my wife. Call me Alexei. Alexei. His name felt strange, intimate. What happens now? Now Dmitri makes a choice. Peace or annihilation. He pulled back enough to see my face. If he chooses peace, you're safe. The threat ends. We can, he hesitated. We can figure out what this is. This marriage. This marriage. This thing between us. This, he kissed me, gentle this time. Nothing like the performance in the library. This feeling I have when I look at you. My heart stuttered. We've known each other for days. I've built empires in less time. His thumb traced my cheek. Time doesn't matter. What matters is choice. And I choose this. I choose you. Real, not performance. If you'll have me. Through the doorway, I could see Marco watching us. See Dmitri and Victor coordinating. See Irina sweeping up the shattered pieces of our wedding. This was my life now. This chaos, this danger. This man who killed to protect me and kissed me like I was something precious. I choose this too, I whispered. God help me. I choose you. Alexei's smile was real, vulnerable and relieved and beautiful. Then we'll figure out the rest together. His phone buzzed. He checked it. And something shifted in his expression. It's Dmitri. He's agreed to meet. Tomorrow, neutral ground. He looked at me. He wants to meet you. My wife. The woman worth ending a war for. And if it's a trap, then we spring it together. He kissed me again, quick and fierce. You said you wanted to be untouchable. Congratulations, Mrs. Konstantin. You just became the most dangerous woman in the city. Outside, dawn was breaking. A new day. A new life. And for the first time in for days, I wasn't afraid.